you. Good afternoon. If I can speak, if I can first ask everyone, please, if you can mute the microphone shown in the middle of the screen. Is there a problem? Somebody trying to...
Not live yet.
Pardon? Oh, you're in.
Josie, I think the other two people were just joining the meeting.
Right, okay, thanks. Sorry, I'll start again. Good afternoon. If you can first ask everyone, please, if you can mute the microphone shown in the middle of the screen by clicking on the icon. If you wish to speak during the meeting, then if you can make the hand sign, which is 3 icons to the right of the microphone icon. At the moment, it's not showing up on mine when somebody wants to speak. So if you could just indicate by, your hand, I'd appreciate that until I can get this sorted out. At a convenient point in the meeting, I will then invite that person to speak, and you will then have to first unmute your microphone. At the conclusion of speaking, if you can again please mute your microphone and click on the highlighted hand sign to unhighlight it. May I also remind you that this is both members and applicants to be cautious at all times when addressing each other. Aggressive advocacy is not encouraged. Thank you. Right, I would like to welcome you all to the virtual licensing panel hearing in respect of the new application made for a premise license under the Licensing Act 2003 for the premises to be known as Northfield Store. Yeah? Hang with me a minute. Thank you. Northfield Way, Retford. Can I introduce the panel to you? I am Councillor Josie Potts, and I will be chairing this virtual hearing. I am the chair of the Licensing Committee, which normally meets every 6 weeks to decide upon matters which have been delegated to be the responsibility of the committee. Also present is Councillor Gary Clarkson, who is a Licensing Committee member. And alongside Gary is Councillor Presley, who also sits on the Licensing Committee. We are responsible for determining the application today based on the information put before us. Please note, we can only hear representation which relates to the 4 licensing objectives, which are the prevention of crime and disorder, number 2, public safety, number 3, prevention of public nuisance, number 4, the protection of children from harm. If representations are made which do not relate to the licensing objectives, I will interject. Also here on behalf of the council is our council solicitor, Stephen Wormold, whose role it is to assist the panel with legal advice and to ensure that a fair and balanced hearing takes place. And Roland Wilson, Senior Licensing Officer, who is the author of this report. Throughout the hearing, either myself or other members of the panel may take advice from Stephen or Roland. Can the applicant representing ARCA licensing consultant please introduce themselves and any witnesses he may wish to call?
Thank you, Chair. And my name is Suresh Kanabadi. I will be representing the applicant as an agent. And then with me here is the applicant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any witnesses?
No, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can the interested party or representative please introduce themselves and any witnesses they may wish to call, only if they are in attendance?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Amanda Jenkinson.
Yes.
I made representation against granting the licence
Right.
on behalf of several occupants of houses surrounding the shop on Northfield Way.
Is there only you in attendance then, Amanda?
There's only me here, yes.
Right, thank you very much. Can members of the panel please confirm the non-recognition of any witnesses?
I don't recognise any, Josie. Chair.
Right. Thank you, Gary. Neither do I. David?
I don't know anybody, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I will now ask the council solicitor to outline the procedure for the hearing today. The senior licensing officer will present the details of the application.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, as you said, first of all, the senior licensing officer will present details of the application. Then persons in attendance will have the opportunity to ask questions of the officer. The applicant will then be asked to present their case, and persons in attendance will then have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant. At that stage, the interested party or objector will be able to speak in support of their representation, and persons in attendance will once again have the opportunity to ask questions of the interested party. Then at the conclusion, the applicant will be asked to sum up their case, followed by the interested party. At that point, all parties will then be asked to leave the virtual meeting while the panel commence their deliberations. The panel then have 5 days in which to reach a determination on the application. So once they've concluded their deliberations, their decision will be notified to the parties in writing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Steve. Can I now ask the officer to outline the application? This Roland?
Thank you, Chair. Then, yeah, thank you, Chair. As you're aware, this is a new premise licence application under the Licensing Act 2003, and the premises are situated at Northfield Stores, Northfield Way, Retford. The proposed licensable activity is shown within the report at 3.4 and includes the sale of alcohol for off sales only. The proposed hours of operation are between the hours of 0600 to 2300 Monday to Sunday. A full copy of the application is within the report at Appendix A, which is pages 6 to 24, and a plan of the internal layout of the premises is shown at page 25. The steps the licence holder is to take in regard to the 4 licensing objectives are shown within the application at page 22 of the report. And if the licence were granted today, this content would be converted into conditions within the new licence. The application was electronically served on all responsible authorities, i.e. the police, fire, planning, trading standards, environmental health and safeguarding children. Nottinghamshire Police, in communication with the applicant, have agreed some additional conditions to be placed on the licence, and they are shown within the report at page 3. No other response was received from any of the other responsible authorities during the 28-day period. 4 letters of valid representation were received, and the locality of the residents to the proposed new premises are shown on a plan at page 69, which is the last page of the report. Members should keep in mind, whilst looking at these representations, that only matters in regard to this proposed premises in connection with one or more of the licence objectives, i.e. the prevention of crime and disorder, prevention of public nuisance, public safety, and the protection of children from harm may be considered. Chair, having listened to all the evidence presented today in determining this application, the subcommittee must have regard to the representations and take such steps as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives. And those steps are to either grant the application in full, modify the conditions of the licence volunteered by the applicant in the operating schedule by altering or omitting or adding to them, or to reject the whole or part of the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Roland. Can I now Is there any questions for the officer from any of the committee?
Yes, Chairman.
David.
Has the store always been before that a pet and animal feed store? Was it something before that, Chairman?
Roland.
I'd think that's really a question, Chair, for the applicant to answer, as obviously it's a brand new application. It's not really relevant to this.
No, you're right. You're right, Roland. Is there anyone else that would like to?
Thanks, Chair.
Right, thanks, David. Gary, is there anything you'd like to contribute?
Not at this moment in time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on then. Can
I can answer your question, whether I'm allowed or not.
Well, I'm going to have to ask Amanda. I don't think you are.
Right. Okay.
Roland,
That's okay.
Roland.
Yep.
Is the lady Amanda Jenkinson allowed to ask a question to you?
It's not a question. I can answer the question of what the store was before.
Well,
if nobody knows,
this is
the same, Chair. I think it's irrelevant, Chair.
It is, Gary, because it's a question of for the officer.
It's a question of the hours the store before was open and the store before that.
This can be brought in at a later time.
Okay.
When you have your chance to speak. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so just in conclusion then, Chair, I would say that what the premises was before is not really relevant to this application. We're dealing with this application here now.
That's right, Roland. Does that answer your question then, Amanda?
Not really, because the hours are totally different.
Well, it's irrelevant to this application. Okay. Thank you. Can I now please invite the applicant to present their case?
Thank you, Chair. So firstly, Chair, I would like to give a few brief introduction to the applicant. So the applicant who is here with me today, he had taken over these premises. Prior to this, he's been running another convenience store, kind of a similar setup in a residential area. Now he sold the business and he's taking over this premises. So he has like more than 5 years experience running a retail store where he had also like a 4 staff working for him. And now, Chair, I think it's great. I mean, I'd like to let you know a little bit about background for this premises. I'm sure you all know, but just to let you know, premises has been operating. It's a commercial premises. It's been operating very long time. And lastly, it's been a pet shop. But I mean, what we hear from the previous owner is used to be a co-op as well, a convenience store previously. But it's been, if you look at the recent long history, it's been a pet and animal store. Chair, I think if you look at this business, Chair, I think it's been long. It's been a pet shop, and it's continued to be a pet shop as well. But it's more like adding more product. I mean, pet shop will be part of it. I think because it's historically it's been pet shop, the applicant has decided to have at least allocate like 20% of the shop for the pet related food and items. Now, Chair, I think what I would say, although we have these 4 objections, Chair, I think if you look at the steps we have taken to promote the licensing objectives, but before that, if you look at it, Chair, I think this is a very positive change to the area. So let me tell you why, because it's been like a pet shop previously, but right now, it's been a convenience store, where people are able to buy like a milk, bread, the essential stuff, especially for the elder generations, older people. And it's easier for them to pop down and get, the essential day-to-day food. So, and also, there, I would like to point out something important as well. The way the previous premises has been run, they didn't have any kind of CCTV system in place, and they closed early. So the premises has been like abandoned, like kind of left alone, not being monitored or anything like that. So that actually, we wouldn't say it caused a problem, but it shows that, it wasn't like a big problem as far as the previous owners concerns. And, speaking to him as well, he said, look, well, I think what he said is like that, okay, we close early, but the place is like, standing there freely. So I don't know whether the children are hanging around there, but, possibly they might too. But right now, Chair, it's a total change. So if you look at this new premises, it's going to be fitted totally new, a new lighting system, a new, signboard with a new name on it. And at the same time, Chair, there's a space around, that's going to be monitored like, a CCTV system inside. So, and then now, Chair, we as an applicant, put number of conditions to promote the licensing objectives. And then we had, consultation with the police, and then we have accepted number of conditions, Chair. I think the CCTV is something that's going to make a huge difference. Chair, I think, we were reading, I think it's not like, we were reading and we gave, real attention to all the objections, I think, we understand it's more of a concerns for them. I think Amanda Jenkins here is to represent. I mean, her house is like a next door. I think it's naturally,
My house is not next door.
Are you not number 31?
Excuse me. Can I just stop you, please? Amanda, can you not interrupt, please?
Sorry.
Okay, so about that, Amanda, because I thought, okay, that's what probably my mistake, and I will come to know it. But anyway, so we have, letter from, Amanda, I know you are from the number 27. Yeah, okay, I got it. So number 31, and 27 was, they have written a long letter explaining like what kind of problems they might face if this premises is going to open and, become a convenience store or like selling alcohol. And then, if you really, focused on what the real concern is, it's about people hanging around late in the evenings. So they mentioned between 6 and 11 o'clock, youngsters, they come and hang around, cause nuisance, and people get drunk. I mean, Chair, there's no evidence it's been happening, really. But on the other hand, if that is some kind of concerns, right? So if you really look at it, it is going to be much more better now, because if you really look at it, I mean, it's a local convenience store. They mentioned about so many other shops around. So what we are looking at, the people going to come and shop in this place are local, and also the place is going to be monitored now, so it's going to become active. So it will discourage people hanging around as opposed to encourage. That's what we will see. If something that happens, then we will definitely do something about it. But if you look at, we have like a highly, if you look at the operating schedule whereby, we have like a challenge 25, whereas everyone, anyone looking under 20 have to be age in order to get hold of alcohol. And also the experience of the managing is also very important here. I think we would like to give you confidence on that. I think, we see this premises is going to be, right, make a more improvement as opposed to being left alone, to hang around. So that's what I would like to invite. I think I know Amanda is here, but, like to invite you look at this positively. And also the applicant, it's really unfortunate during the application, we were not able to, during the current pandemic, we were not able to go and meet people. But, I think in the future, when things improve, the applicant will work with the local people and the local residences, which he done that before. and address and every concerns. And Chair, one more point I wanted to put that in before I leave. I think in terms of parking also, Chair, and the parking is on the Northfield Road, not on the other road. The customer parking probably about 4 or 5 cars. It's very safe, right? The other side is completely blocked off now. Yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to say, Chair, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions about the information provided by the applicant?
I have a couple of questions, Chair, if that's possible.
Gary.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. First of all, Mr. Kanapthi, would you be able to outline or give an overview of the day-to-day running of the premises? What does the applicant see as the management of that? Will he be there, or one of his representatives be there at all times? Also, will anybody be living at the shop?
Thank you for asking that questions. Yes, I mean, the day-to-day management of it, they have, I think he proposed to have at least 5 staff, so, definitely going to be some local people to, definitely there will be. Yeah, I think his operating schedule shows that, I've been looking at the number of staffs, and he wanted to employ at least 2-3 local staff, so that which will help, like build a relationship with the local people. And the landlord has recommended a few people as well, which is really great. And the thing is, also in terms of operations, there will, he is the manager, and then he will have at least, and during the day, there will be 2 shift working bases. So morning up to 3 o'clock, and then the 3 to end of the day. I think evening we definitely will have like 2 staff. Most of the time he's going to be hanging around in the evening, and the morning he will have a local staff handling the matters, quite at times. And definitely he will have like enough staff to manage it, to prevent, promote the licensing objectives and serving the customers.
Okay. So from that, I take it that the applicant is going to be on site much of the time. The other one, I picked up on some of the objections, and it's good to see that within the conditions that are suggested by the police and agreed by the applicant, that there's going to be CCTV outside and also lighting, appropriate lighting.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's based on some of the concerns, I think, of local people. By the way, I actually live about 150 meters away from this shop, so I've known it for almost all of my 60 years.
Oh,
so
amazing.
It used to be a co-op store at one time with the butchers at the side of it, so I know it quite well. You say the parking is going to be on Northfield Way. So, and there are going to be 5 or 6 parking spaces. Can you confirm there's only going to be parking on that side and not the other side on West Furlong?
The customers are not allowed to park on the other West Furlong side. Definitely, it's been blocked off. Only the other side, where the customers will be parking.
Okay, thank you very much.
Could I ask, please? Is there do you have any information about any antisocial behaviour previously around this shop on an evening? And also, you're saying that it's going to be a one-stop shop. Now, one-stop are Tesco's. Can you answer that for me, please?
When we say one-stop, what we meant, like having, all essential household need in one place. Sorry, I think there's no conflict like that. Sorry, I think that's what we meant. So yeah, you can buy most of the stuff in one place rather than going to another place. to buy something else.
Because there's only Tesco's use the name One Star.
Oh yes, that's right. I know that. Yeah.
Right. Have you got any knowledge of any antisocial behaviour around this shop?
It's something we discussed. I think we talked to the landlord who was previously running, and he said, I think the youngsters around that area, they are very well behaved. He said, you shouldn't have any much problem in that area. And he said, obviously, the people close by may have concern about it. But, Chair, if you look at the objections, obviously, there are, so many close by neighbors, they haven't objected to it. So we had only 4 among at least the close by neighbors, amounting to at least minimum 30, the very close ones, but we only had about, 4. So considering that into account, Chair, I think it hasn't been evidenced, So what I mean by that, I think, if youngsters, I think if some people are like hanging around, we can't say them, oh, they're making antisocial behavior, we got to respect, and they might just hang around for a few minutes. This is my own experience, we cannot really discriminate against those youngsters all the time. We all being young people. And all they will do, they just probably just hang around and talk together. So the question is, Chair, are they causing antisocial behavior? What do you mean by that? Are they breaking things, throwing things, making noise, and giving trouble to people? I think that's what, would concern. But so far, we don't see those things happening. And we have like a strong management, with the Challenge 25, policy in place. So which will prevent, and also like a proxy sales as well. People are buying for others. And the place is, because we have CCTVs around we will be monitoring it. But in the meantime, the residents will be closely looking at that as well. They will be supporting us. That's how we say it.
So have you got the CCTV installed now?
Yeah, it's all been installed at the moment.
It's all up and running?
Yeah. Inside, and yeah.
And you want a license for alcohol from 6 in the morning?
Sure, the shop is going to be open 6 in the morning because they have milk, newspapers, all the breads and all the other essential items. So we are opening 6 to 11. I think we don't see a reason why we can't have the alcohol at the same time as the opening hours. Because if you really look at it, they already mentioned there are so many other shops. So, our customers is going to be the people who live mostly close by, the local people. We don't think they are the ones they're going to bring on the street or anything like that. Don't foresee that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has any questions about the information provided for the applicant?
Yes, Chairman.
David.
Yeah, just on what you said, Chairman, about the alcohol. It's 6 in the morning. I just think it's early, that's all. And on the antisocial behaviour, they must have records of what happened around the shop before. And I can remember what Gary said about it being the shop, the co-op. I can remember that myself. Has there been a record of anything antisocial behaviour and also litter around the shop? Is that going to be protected as well, Chairman?
Thank you. Would you like to answer that, please?
Well, we don't have any recorded, as far as we know, there aren't any kind of recorded evidence-based records. We've been trying to get that from the landlord as well. There's nothing. But in terms of litter, there's a bin by the the public, the council put up there. But because there's so much space on the other side, applicant is going to have one big bin there to support anyone who want to put a litter extra to manage that, and he will be cleaning that area all the times. Because look, if the local people are not coming to shop, it's not like a high street walking customers, so he'll have to look after the area as well as the local customers. You know, and it's important to do that. But at the same time, he will, of course, definitely will do it. You know, keeping the area clean and tidy at all times.
So you'll have a rota then for your staff.
Yeah.
To clean outside when it's littered.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a bin outside, are you yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, Chair. I think we're going to have extra bin. I think he decided already. Have like an extra bin to put that.
Anyone else got any questions about the information provided?
Yes, please, Chair.
Who's that? Roland?
Yes, please, Chair.
Roland.
Yep. Just to say, obviously, people have mentioned about antisocial behaviour, etc. A reminder that the application was served on all responsible authorities, which involved environmental health and the police, and that was their opportunity if they had any concern of antisocial behaviour, anything in that respect, to raise any concerns, and that in that respect no response was received. And obviously, the Chair, you do have that opportunity to add conditions to the licence in regard to waste paper bins and people carrying out inspections during the day on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Roland. Are there any questions relating to the information we have heard? No? Can I now please invite the interested party to present their case? Are there any questions relating to the information we have heard?
I think, Chair, that we need to hear the case first before questions.
Oh, have I jumped one, Steve? Oh.
Yeah, at this point, Chair, it's for the interested party to outline their case and then questions.
Well, I've just said that. Can the interested party please present their case?
Mrs. Jenkinson, can you unmute your microphone, please?
Right, it's done. Yes?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good, thank you. Hi, a few things really. I've lived here for only 25 years. And there is a history, even when it was a pet shop and when it was I think a fishing tackle shop at one point. The shop has been ram raided in the past, hence the two posts at the doors on Northfield Way. The windows were always being, especially the one on West Furlong, the large glass windows being put in a few times. The children, I know the gate's on the side of the building now, which accesses 31 West Furlong, but children do climb on the flat roof. And I've actually seen them from my property bouncing about on the top. There is a lot of litter as it is now, which goes into the black bin on the corner, which tends to be used by dog walkers to keep the pavements clean. There are many other people that are not happy with the shop opening from 6 till 11, and for whatever reason known only to themselves, they've not put pen to paper. I've spoken to at least 5 other people, including my neighbour here at 27. I don't know why people don't. Our objections are the 6 till 11 o'clock, which means that there would be noise before 6 and after 11, because there's no living accommodation at the property. So somebody has to access and leave and lock up the property. So there will be noise in excess and before that. Any lights that are coming on, security lights that are coming on, are obviously going to affect the bungalows, the house, detached house directly next door on Northfield Way. I believe the lady's a nurse who works night shifts, and she's got a baby and 2 young children. You've got elderly bungalows over the road, elderly people's bungalows to 2 sides. the litter, obviously, we do have problems with smashed glass. There was smashed glass against the pet shop wall only last week. There's a beech hedge it's my mother's house, number 31. There's a beech hedge in her garden, but the wall does actually belong to the pet shop. And there's frequently smashed glass and kids sat in the corner and on the step of the door there. The noise would escalate because the foot traffic and car traffic would be increased. It's a crossroads. It's quite a busy crossroads. It's obviously quieter at the moment because of COVID, but it is a bus route. The children from the school aren't allowed to walk down West Furlong home unless they live directly on the estate because of the noise. I can see you shaking your head, but a young girl was beaten up the other side of the hedge a couple of years ago, and there's often trouble with the children from the school. So my understanding from the school is that they're not allowed to walk down anymore. And they tend not to. They tend to be better behaved. So whether it was just a certain group, I have no idea. The antisocial behaviour does continue. I see it on a day. I go out twice a day now to take my dog for a walk. There are often people stood on the corner, hanging around the corner for no reason whatsoever. And we just think it would increase the car traffic. You've got delivery lorries, which were always a problem with the shop before, because as you come up to the crossroads, you can't see left to pull out onto the crossroads. Traffic, cars do park on West Furlong. I live 3 doors away, and cars have blocked my drop curbs. They certainly park outside 31 West Furlong and at the bungalows over the road to go into the shop. The bollard was put up courtesy of Notts County Council at my request, because I nearly got knocked over one day coming out through my mother's gate by cars flying down the pavement from the shop. And all in all, the noise, the litter, the increase in antisocial behaviour. There is a big drug problem in the area, not too far away from where I'm sitting. There has been police raids to a house, I don't know the name of the road, to a house locally, which hopefully the police will get on top of. There are, in the summer, high-end cars stopping on that corner by the black bin. I've seen them myself. That do stand out, and what they're doing, you can only guess. But there's certainly an influx of people on bicycles riding by, picking things up. We just don't want an increase in the trouble that seems to have died down a little bit now to start up again, with people drinking, throwing glass bottles around, dropping litter. I mean, I've had the roof of my car, £800 worth of damage. The roof was slashed. They didn't steal anything. They left a £10 note on the seat at the glove compartment, but they slashed the roof of my car for no reason. My mother and my brother have had tomatoes thrown at their windows. They're both disabled. She's 88. They've had stones thrown. The lady over the road in the bungalow, Barbara, who's blind, went into hospital, and her house was trashed. Her bungalow was absolutely trashed. Things that weren't even necessary to do to the inside, which I won't describe. It's just, I don't think we've got. There's a shop within 5. I mean, I've got walking problems. We have a fully functioning post office, what I call a corner shop, which sells newspapers, which goes out of its way to help the local community as it is now, within walking distance, 5 minutes. We've got one at the bottom of Northfield Way. We've got a massive co-op, we believe, opening on North Road at the petrol station. There are rumours of another co-op opening at the pub, the Scotsman. I think the Scotsman's called, on Hallcroft Road. I feel that we really do not need a shop from 6 o'clock till 11 o'clock at night with noise either end, light pollution, noise pollution, rubbish, and the attraction of people that we really don't want around the area. I think it would aggravate problems. We have problems with noise at the top of the street and antisocial behaviour already, which we're trying to put a stop to. And I think it would just aggravate the whole situation.
Thank you, Amanda.
I mean, I don't know why people haven't. I know the one lady did a handwritten letter, and she's an elderly lady too. I just wish that more people would have written in. I mean, it is my understanding that a eco scooters tried to rent the property, which would be work office hours, which is as the property has always been before, as far as I can remember, you know, like a 9 till 5 or an 8 till 5, which isn't, you know, which is kind to everybody in the surrounding area. But a 6, this isn't London. I've lived in London and worked in London. This isn't London. 6 till 11 o'clock at night is just not acceptable, with everything, light, noise, and everything that goes with that, and the attraction of undesirables.
Thank you. Are there any questions relating to the information we have heard from the interested party? Gary?
Thank you, Chair. Mrs. Jenkinson, I apologise if you think I was shaking my head when you were talking. I was actually looking at Google Maps Street View. As you probably know, I live at the opposite end of West Furlong. I was basically, I can't go outside now and have a quick look, but I was actually looking at Street View, and there was 2 different images. One was from about 5 years ago, and one was from a few months ago. So I was trying to work out basically about the parking, etc., because obviously we have to look at the logistics of how this is going to work if it works. So I just want to point that out. The second one, it's just a question. Obviously, I can't see what's happening down the other, or halfway down the street. However, I do go past each, 2 or 3 times a week at least. But that's just snapshots. What I'd like to ask Mrs. Jenkinson is, do you have evidence of reports of the different incidents? For example, if there have been incidents, or if there have been people out there smashing bottles and you've seen it, have you reported it to the police?
Yes. And the police, well, I presume the owner of the property would have reported the smashed windows. It's a massive window, isn't it? As you know, and obviously I would have thought the ram raid, that's where the bollards went up, that would have been reported to the police.
Yeah, that.
And the noise at night.
Behavior.
Sorry. The
antisocial behavior. Yeah.
The noise at night has been reported to the police. Yes.
Okay. And has there been anything recently?
The glass last week is the first thing I've seen for a long time, smashed against the short wall there. I mean, my brother is in the front bedroom of 31 West Furlong, and he often says that there's, not recently, he often says that there's a lot of noise outside, and he's too frightened to look. So he just tends to put his light out and sit there, because obviously you don't want to attract whatever's going on to your property.
Okay.
Thank you. David?
I'd just like to ask, Chairman, is CCTV in there at the moment?
Yes.
So all these incidents will be on CCTV?
Well, the CCTV's internal on a split screen for the pet shop. I've not seen anybody fit in CCTV outside or any changes to CCTV outside, or I don't know about inside because you can't go in. But it was a split screen television for the pet shop, and you could see different areas of the actual inside of the building. But you can't see outside because I've asked before when my car.
So it wasn't outside. Yeah, that's what.
Well, there isn't now. There isn't now, I don't think.
So
There's
it
no
wasn't
CCTV.
outside, anything outside.
No.
No. So this application is going to put CCTV outside, I understand.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Chairman.
Any more questions for the interested party? No?
How might they stick to their hours of 11 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning, and any breaches of that? Have there been any breaches?
If I can answer that, if the shop is closing at 11 o'clock, they will be started closing like quarter to 11 or half to 11, so, and then 11 o'clock they're shutting up and they go. Really, the staff, they have to go and sleep. So even 6 o'clock in the morning, they will just come at 6 and then open the door. Really, it's not like they come 5 o'clock in the morning to open the shop at 6, or they stay until midnight to close the shop at 11. That's normally, it's not the case. They started closing like 10 minutes before she shut the door and let the customers go, and they go. That's what happens normally operationally. It's about how we operate the business, management of the business. But obviously in the future, if you have any kind of problems, you can always come and talk to the management. And then if they can't solve it, you can always report to the authorities. They will definitely take actions, that can put a license into trouble as well, later on, if those kind of public nuisance problem has been evidence. Because now you will see it will be evidence, because they have to have a CCTV record for 31 days as part of the licensing conditions. It means that anytime the police officer goes in and they ask for a CCTV, or they ask like, okay, can I see your CCTV please, for yesterday or 5 days ago, this time of the year, and then they need to be able to give it to them. And if they don't do it, the license will be at risk, because that's part of the conditions on the license to say that this need to be complied. And then the breach of that, any of those parts would, lead to like an unlimited fine in the court, So that's what, where we are at in terms of the operating schedule, how you're going to run the business. And like you said, even if they sell alcohol 1 minute past 11, that will be a breach of the law. So you can always report, and then if they get caught, and then the license will be at trouble, So.
But breaches do happen, don't they? Even with your company, there have been breaches of licensees. And into the future, it's too late for the people that have to put up with the problems at the time.
Well, that's what, the law is there to handle,
But the law works very slowly, and it doesn't work in favour of people like us, small people like us.
But we don't know yet, right? Because we need to, and even 6 months time, and then you and me sit down and talk about it, and then we can see, okay, look,
11 o'clock, this is a very quiet residential area with an elderly population. If you look at the crime statistics for the area, antisocial behaviour is on there. There isn't really anything else mentioned. And to open it till 11 o'clock at night, and not even council workmen start work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Not many people start work at 6 in the morning. And 11 o'clock at night is too late. It's a quiet area. People do not want people, shouting, talking in loud voices, walking past their house, creating havoc with their dogs barking, and people just want to get on with what life they have left without all the hassle of alcohol fueled, or even anything fueled, going into a shop at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Well, I mean, these are all kind of, predictions, right? I mean, we can't assume all those people coming to shop at late at night are going to cause trouble. They will be like family, come at 10:30 in the evening to do their essential shopping for next day. And they just come and...
Not at 11 o'clock at night, a family, I would say they wouldn't know.
Yeah, possibly, some other, local customers, we want to serve the customers, it's being a convenience store for them to shop anytime. Right now, in this time of the, situations, people like to have flexible times. It's give them an, opportunity to shop when they...
The other shops in the local area, the one at the bottom, the other end of the estate, I don't know the name of the road. What time do they close? And what time does the post office shop close? Does anybody?
Chair, can I come in there, please?
David, I want to come in myself.
Chair, it's Roland.
Oh, sorry, Roland.
Chair, it's Roland. Can I just come in there?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Just in regard to, obviously, opening times, the premises is due to have CCTV. So if there are any allegations of premises serving alcohol beyond the hours that are granted today, then obviously it would be possible to get copies of that CCTV and look at that. And if offences were discovered, then obviously appropriate action would be taken for the offences committed under the Licensing Act 2003. In regard to other premises hours that are open, what times they open, I'm sorry, again, that's not really relevant to this application. Chair, can I just ask one question actually of the applicant rather than the agent? And if the applicant has, it says that he's agreed with the police to put internal and external CCTV. If the external CCTV is now fitted, can he just explain to us how far the actual vision is of where it can actually, the CCTV can see? And obviously the agent won't know this, so I say if I could ask that to the applicant, please.
Yeah. Can the applicant answer, please? Not the agent. You've got it on mute.
Can you unmute your microphone?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to say something about the CCTV about outside?
Yeah, outside my shop fitter can fix it when the shop fitting goes on. It takes maybe 4 weeks time from now. Yeah.
There is no external CCTV.
So,
Amanda, can you wait, please?
So,
not yet. We have.
Amanda,
so Chair, can I just ask?
Amanda, can you mute your mic, please?
Yeah.
The licensing officer is speaking and the applicant.
We planned already. The CCTV fixers, so they can do. It's covering on the outside all the sides.
Okay, Chair, if I can just obviously ask the question through you, as everyone else should do. I'm just concerned now that if the license were to be granted today, but the applicant is actually saying it will be 4 weeks before he gets the external CCTV, so therefore he's going to be in breach of that license when it's been issued.
Yeah. Thank you, Roland. Did you get that, Mr. Suresh?
No, I get that, Chair. The premises wouldn't operate, wouldn't open until everything in place as per the conditions,
This is the once the CCTV is done, then you don't know that. Not until you can't, because you'd be breaching your license.
Of course, I mean, if you do it, yeah, of course, but that's not going to happen, because what he was saying, the work is because he, so he didn't explain to you properly, because he handed over, the outside contractors to handle whole work. So the work is still continuing, and then the shop wouldn't be open until everything get completed. So definitely there will be, outside CCTV will be covered. I mean, the premises wouldn't start selling alcohol until all the conditions are in place.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Before I let you go?
Yeah.
times and how many deliveries do you have a week?
Deliveries. So they have, they wouldn't, the deliveries, we can have a condition if needed, because delivery won't happen after 6 p.m. in the evening. And they have like 3 deliveries in a week.
3 deliveries in a week, but I want to know what time them deliveries come.
Yeah, morning 9 to evening 5, 6 o'clock maximum.
What, in the morning?
No, morning, evening. Morning 9 o'clock. Yeah.
What's the latest time they deliver?
The delivery time will be morning 9, and it will happen before 5 in the evening.
Right, not before or after, just after 6.
No, nothing will be after 6 for 100%. Yeah, definitely, because we have the residences, the noise and things like that, And it's
right. Roland, would you like to come back in?
Roland.
Yes,
thank you, Chair. I think he's answered the question on. Yeah, I think he's answered the question on CCTV, which I'm quite satisfied with. Thank you, Chair.
Right, that's good. Is there any more questions from the applicant before we move on?
There's just something from me with regard to the hours. I know that Roland said that the hours aren't relevant, but they are, because the property is in such close proximity to people's houses that 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night is going to have a detrimental effect on people.
Right, thank you, Amanda. Right, if there is no more questions, now the evidence has been heard, can I invite the parties to sum up their cases in the following order? The applicant, please, first.
Thank you, Chair, and we would like to really invite the committee positively looking at this premises becoming live, becoming active, and having this operating schedule like a CCTV system and things like that. Those concerns raised by them, right now there is not evidence, but I think it's, a lot of it is going to be improved rather than, negatively impacting it. That's how we see these applications. And the shop is going to be, amazingly going to be like a local shop, and it's going to be massively convenience for the local elderly people to come and do shoppings. And the alcohol is a small part of it. I know we are talking about alcohol today, but it's become like 100% alcohol. But if you really look at it, the premises, it's already been marked. It's going to be less than 20% of the space. It's going to handle. I think, and with the experience of the applicant who now moved to this area, and so I would say you could confidently consider that. And we will definitely work with the neighbours. We will talk to the number 31 along that side, to see anything that impact them. We will do something to handle that, because right now, we got a CCTV, we will do something, because it's not something the applicant, I think the reason I'm saying, the next door neighbours, they could have concern about it, but it's very important for us to address that, and then we will do it. And that's all I wanted to say, Chair, and thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Can the interested party, if in attendance, sum up their case, please? That's you, Amanda.
Thank you. Hi. Simply, the objections are litter, noise, light pollution, the increase in motorised traffic, the increase in foot traffic, increase in antisocial behaviour, and 6 till 11 o'clock is going to have a massive detrimental effect upon the people in the area, in the close proximity to the building, for their safety as well as the noise and the general busyness of the thing. The hours are too long. We're not in London. We're in a tiny little quiet area.
The battery's only on 10%. Right, thank you. Steve, would you like to come back in now, please? Steve?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, so that concludes the hearing. The parties will now be asked to leave the hearing. Members will deliberate, reach a decision, and that decision will then be communicated to the parties in writing within 5 days.
Won't be on 10%. Yeah. Will it reach?
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
It won't know. It's got to go in the head tracer, my iPad.
There's one just there, isn't there?
What? No. Just get me a thing for brilliant.
Caster, can we finish the live stream now? Or
We still have the applicant involved.
no, I'll be able to throw. Hold on.